My name is Lucas, and I'm 30 years old. I've spent my life chasing a warmth my family never gave me, like a moth burning its wings on a flame that never lit. Tonight, I'm confessing a truth I've buried deep, a wound that's bled for years. This is the story of how their smiles became my shackles and how I broke free in a way they'll never forget. It was my 29th birthday, a night I thought might finally be mine. The scene was a sleek rooftop restaurant, city lights sprawling below, the clatter of silverware like a heartbeat. I'd been killing myself at work, 80-hour weeks, quietly settling my parents' debts, patching the holes in their lives while mine frayed at the edges. I dared to hope they'd finally see me tonight. Not the bank, not the backup plan, but Lucas. My sister Ava sat across from me, her gold necklace flashing like a warning. My parents, Ellen and Tom, framed her like she was the centerpiece of their world. I was just there, a guest at my own celebration. The waiter handed me a card and my chest tightened with a flicker of anticipation. I opened it and a single faded penny was taped to the inside, glinting like a slap. My mom's voice cut through the chatter. "Don't go wild with that, Lucas." Her smile was sharp, a practiced dart, and the table burst into laughter. Ava's smug grin, my dad's low chuckle, my cousin's stifled giggle. That penny sat in my palm, heavy as every unspoken slight, and something inside me cracked wide open. That penny wasn't just a gag. It was a ledger of my place in their eyes, worthless unless I was giving. My whole life, my birthdays were their theater. Lucas is too quiet, they'd say. Or he's not bold like Ava. Bold. That's what they called her when she spent my loans on her European getaways. I'd bitten my tongue, told myself it was family, loyalty, love. But that night, their laughter ringing over the city skyline, it wasn't a joke. It was a contract they didn't know they'd signed. I forced a grin, slid the penny back into the card, and said, "Wow, Ellen, you shouldn't have." My voice held, but my pulse thundered, not from pain, but from a spark igniting. They didn't see it. They never did. Ava launched into a tale about her latest Paris adventure. Paris, funded by the credit I'd cleared for her. My dad leaned forward, hanging on her every word like it was gospel. I pushed my salmon around the plate, its pink flesh as cold as my patience, and I started tallying. Every loan I'd covered, every emergency I'd fixed, every dream I'd shelved to keep them afloat. The sum choked me. I was done bleeding. The dinner dragged on. Their voices were a haze of self-congratulation. "Lucas, you should try living for once," Ava said, her wine glass tilted, her tone laced with condescension. My mom nodded. "He's always been so careful." Careful? That's what they called it when I bailed out their utilities to avoid a shutoff. Careful when I worked overtime to cover their car loans. I stayed quiet, watching their arrogance like a house of cards begging for a gust. When the bill arrived, my dad nudged it my way with a wink. "You've got this, right, Lucas? It's your big night." I paid not out of duty but strategy. I was buying time to rewrite their rules. I left that rooftop with a vow whispered into the cold night, air as their laughter echoed in my skull. They'll feel this, not with words but with power. The weeks that followed were a descent into stillness. I ignored their calls but their texts, Ellen's pleas, Ava's fake concern, stacked up like overdue notices. Then came the call that flipped the board. It was past midnight. My apartment dark except for the glow of my phone. Ellen's voice was honeyed and false. "Lucas, how's the job?" I had just clinched a major deal at work. A raise that felt like proof I wasn't their failure. I told her. Waiting for something, pride maybe, I thought. Instead, she said, "That's great. Look, we're in a bind. The house payment is late again." Ava's stretched thin, so we thought. My stomach twisted, not from shock but from truth. "You want me to take over your mortgage?" I asked, my voice like steel. She didn't flinch. "Just for a bit, Lucas, you're doing so well." I hung up not from rage but from resolve. I was done being their lifeline, their fool, their shadow. That night, staring at the city's pulse through my window, I scrawled one word on a scrap of paper. No. That word became my shield. I dove into work not to hide but to rise. My deal opened doors, client meetings, real influence. I cleared my own debts, bought a sleek new car, and started investing in a future I owned. "You're standing taller, Lucas," a friend said over beers. "Like you dropped a weight." I had. Their demands, their dismissal, they were gone. But freedom came with a shadow, isolation. Nights were brutal. Their smiles haunting me, their voices looping in my head. Then I found it, a bank alert in my mailbox. They'd tried to dip into an old account I'd locked after their last grab. That notice was a spark in dry grass. I didn't weep for them. I went for the boy who thought he could buy their respect. Then I started building. I planned not for vengeance, but for survival. I saved every text, every transfer, every cent I'd poured into their lives. I met a lawyer, studied foreclosures, and learned how to claim debts. Their house, the one I'd propped up, was teetering on collapse. I saw my opening. Quietly, I moved pieces into place. I didn't want their walls. I wanted their reckoning. At a family barbecue months later, I saw their cracks. Ava's bravado was brittle, her eyes skittish. Ellen and Tom looked drained, their charm faded. Over charred burgers, Ellen tried again. Lucas, Ava's got this business idea. Huge potential. You could back her. I nodded, silent, letting their need hang like smoke. I'd heard whispers. Ava's business was a house of lies, her credit crumbling under bad bets. They didn't need me because I was steady. They needed me because they were sinking. The breaking point hit a year after that penny. Same rooftop restaurant, same heavy air. Ellen slid a card across the table. No penny now, just a note. We're grateful for you. I met her gaze and dropped the truth. The house. It's mine. I bought the debt. You stay on my terms. The table froze. Ava's jaw tightened. Tom's glass hit the table hard. Ellen's eyes searched for a trick, but there was none. For the first time, they saw me, not the shadow, not the fool, but the man who turned their game against them. I paid the bill, stood and walked into the night, their silence louder than their laughter ever was. Driving home, I felt it. Not victory, but release. I'm still figuring out what family means, but it's not a penny taped to a card. Have you ever had to reclaim your worth from those who tried to bury it?